Happy holidays from the ToKids, or Merry Christmas. And today we'll be talking about Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. And is language offensive depending on that person and if the whole situation? And Jackson, you want to carry us off?
Yeah, so happy holidays versus Merry Christmas. Some people say happy holidays and then people will get offensive and be like, no, it's Merry Christmas. And I mean, like, technically, when we're uploading this, it's before, like, Thanksgiving. So, but in the Christmas time, people
Thanksgiving
say,
is a
like,
holiday.
yeah, people say Merry Christmas. So I feel like that when people get offended by the fact that people are saying happy holidays, they feel like that they take it as like a personal offense to them, as if, typically these people who correct these people that say happy holidays are people who are religious and associate, Christmas with Christ. And, it's like that whole debate of like, is it offensive for people to write Xmas instead of Christmas, like taking out of the Christ in Christmas? So I feel like that people take it as a personal offense, like, oh, you're taking out the religion, like you're taking out the entire purpose of Merry Christmas. But while they have that individualistic perspective, other people who say happy holidays are more, I feel like they not care, but they have a broader sense of like, oh, not everybody celebrates Christmas. Some people celebrate Kwanzaa. Some celebrate Hanukkah. Yeah, that's the one that I was thinking. So yeah, people are like, oh, many people celebrate these different holidays. I want to, attribute to those holidays. So I feel like it's like an argument of like the individualistic aspect versus like the collectivistic perspective.
Yeah. And I feel like saying happy holidays really brings that inclusivity. I don't feel like I'm saying that word right.
Inclusivity?
Yes. I'm sorry, my Freudian slip and I are best friends today. So I feel like saying that you're including everyone in that same sort of conversation. As in around this time of year, everyone is experienced the similar feelings of the holiday spirit. And I feel like while saying that, you're recognizing that and you're saying, hey, your holiday and my holiday are in the same sort of category and they both mean something to us. And I don't know what you celebrate, and you don't know what I celebrate. So I'm just saying this as a way to say have a nice day and to be nice. But saying Merry Christmas is assuming that everyone celebrates Christmas, and I sort of disagree on like in the individualist aspect because I think saying Merry Christmas is a more like a collective view rather than an individual view because saying Merry Christmas, like when you were little in America, everyone's growing up thinking like, oh, everyone celebrates Christmas, where that's not true. Some people celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and while saying Merry Christmas, you sort of just group everyone in this one giant box saying like, oh, everyone's Christian or everyone celebrates Christmas, everyone believes like the the whole Virgin Mary story and everything like that, and that's not true.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that, but I think it also comes from the words where it's like inclusive or it's like exclusive. So like Happy Holidays, it's very inclusive. It allows everybody to, experience the holiday spirit, and it kind of just checks off everything. It's a holiday. Everybody's celebrating. A lot of people are celebrating holidays during this time. It's easy peasy. But Merry Christmas is really exclusive, and it's like for only a certain group. It's like that argument of like the in group wants to keep the people in the in group and like the people outside of it in the out group. And I think that's really interesting. But I don't think I can see where you're coming from with the individualistic and collectivism, but I don't know if they have quite play in this situation. But it's a really interesting point to bring up about it.
I definitely agree with Cindy when it comes to like what she mentioned about this in-group mentality. And it really makes me think about why people get so defensive towards inclusivity. Because it's like, it reminds me of a past topic we had about gatekeeping. It's like, it's keeping a larger subject really personal to yourself, and I guess not acknowledging that other people also have this experience of yours. And also, like, when it comes to language, I feel like phrasing certain things differently than maybe someone's used to, like they grew up their whole life saying Merry Christmas, like Aaliyah said, and so maybe when that language shifts, they feel like it's a personal attack on them, and also they might not like fully understand why that shift occurred because they don't have like that personal experience themselves.
To add on to what Corinne is saying, I don't necessarily agree with this perspective, but I feel as though people who prefer to say Merry Christmas get offended because it's as though they have something that is very special to them, especially not only in the holiday spirit but religious wise, and by saying Happy Holidays, it could take that away from.
I feel like we've kind of talked about this in class before, actually, with not Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas, but when you say bless you after someone sneezes, or God bless you, is there a line to be drawn there as well?
What do you mean? Like, is saying God bless you like better or worse than saying bless you?
It's more
Yeah, it's
like the religious
inclusivity.
aspect.
Yeah, to me
Right?
it seems like she's talking about like the kind of connotation that you get from it. So it's like when you say like certain words like bless you might sound less religious, whereas God bless you might sound like more religious. And so like the impact that it has on you personally, because everybody has different connotations about what these signifiers mean. So maybe like saying God bless you would be kind of like saying Merry Christmas rather than Happy Holidays. So it's
Correct.
like yeah,
The
like why are you
assumption.
including religion?
Yeah.
I feel like they're like both like almost the same, because saying bless you kind of hints at blessings, which is only, well, I guess it depends what you define blessings, but my definition of like a blessing would be from like a deity blessing you, would be like giving you or granting you. So it's kind of the same, but I agree saying God bless you instead is more kind of like more forward, more the connotation of it is more religious than the other.
I wanted to talk a little bit. Go, Leah.
I was gonna say I agree with Nicole, because like saying God bless you, it's like it's more heavily emphasized that it's religious, but I wouldn't say it's the exact same thing as Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas, because some people who are very religious also say bless you instead of God bless you, because probably in their mind it's like saying bless you is like a shorter way of saying God bless you, especially if they're in a hurry or they're in a rush or something like that. But the Happy Holidays and versus Merry Christmas, they're totally two different words, and so I feel like it's different, but it's not too far off, but it's definitely not the same.
Let me get this straight. So both phrases, happy holidays and bless you, are just like have been integrated right into our culture, American culture, really. Just here, just specifically because Americans have transcended just religious boundaries, and even atheist families are also going ahead and celebrating Christmas just because it's a part of American culture. So I feel like Christianity related to the holidays or Christmas is it's like farther apart. Christmas for Christians has like greater religious significance, while as for Americans who are atheists or who don't celebrate God or are come from other religions are just celebrating the means to fit into culture because it's on TV everywhere. We go everywhere. We see lights outside. We want to exist as part of that culture. Do you think Jesus got up and was like, "Let's put lights on our houses to celebrate his birth"?
Something like with reindeer.
Stars, man. The stars in the sky could be the lights.
Lights were a thing.
All right, go ahead.
To bring like a similar perspective, I remember when I was towards like elementary school, we used to say, "Oh, Christmas break is next week," but nowadays we say winter break, and I feel like it's as we kind of move on, the includes we want to include everyone, like especially the school system.
Don't come here.
We don't want to exclude other students. So, yeah.
Okay, get Smith.
I kind of wanted to talk about the two like what Kayla and Jackson were talking about with the secular nature of Christmas. I think the capitalistic holiday of Christmas plays a really big part of why it became secularized because of the economy, where people put the more meaning and kind of popularized and generalized Christmas as this time to just buy gifts and show your appreciation to one another in that way without and these kind of didn't tie it to a Christ or God or in that scenario. So I think that's really interesting to see how Christmas itself can have different meanings too, and language, the way you see it kind of changes your perspective.
Yeah, and by bringing all of these like different perspectives and context, it makes me wonder a more broad question. What defines some language to be offensive? I mean, like, you don't have to like just apply this to Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas, but I mean, like, you can apply this to like curse words. You can apply this to like curse words, like labels. What makes them offensive? Like we mentioned, like the exclusivity and the inclusivity. Like how large of a role does that play into considering what words are offensive and what words are not?
Well,
I
I
feel
think that
You can go, Leah.
okay. I think that really goes down into the historical context of the word, because with curse words, I remember one day I was like, why are curse words such a bad thing? And like, what's the history behind them? Because I have no clue. And I Googled it, and apparently it ties into like a religious context. And so I believe that since religion is so influenced into our culture and kind of shaped our society in a way, I think that's why we still see them as bad today, and it's just been passed down by generations. So that's one way that we could see why words are offensive. And so, like, if you take words and you also take, like, labels could be very offensive because it puts people in these boxes and group people together, which could be very harmful. And we also talked about labels and stuff like this in a previous ToKids, and we could bring that back now, and we can still say that the historical context of these words can lead to someone being offended by it. Even if they had like a different meaning before, it's just the history can change the meaning of a word.
I think personally that
Ariana, you could go.
Okay, I think that religion makes, for the more simple-minded folk, the common, not IB students, that religion makes.
Okay, no, hold on.
Ariana,
Not simple-minded. They're just not in the IB program.
I'll rephrase.
And
I
that's
don't know how to rephrase it.
Rephrase that.
That's offensive language.
That's offensive language.
language.
You were excluding.
A prime example
You're-
of language being offensive.
We're talking about
That
inclusivity
religion-
here, and you are excluding regular people not an IB.
Religion.
Okay, continue, Ari.
Before we
Rephrase.
pound you again.
Religion makes things easier to grasp when they're unexplainable. It's a divine power that you can't control and you don't see it happening physically. So for a lot of people it's hard to understand why some things happen, and a lot of people need reasons as to why things happen. So I think placing it on a divine power is much simpler than, finding it out for yourself.
I also want to bring
Yeah.
up the fact of religion. History kind of was like this majority, and it had a lot of power over a lot of things. They held power, so this kind of allowed people to kind of that influenced society a lot because they held power and because a lot of people believed in it and it was a majority. And I think a lot of the words that we find offensive or why words are bad or something, it's because a majority of people found it offensive, or like a majority were being offensive to a minority kind of group, and that's why that like exclusion is a reason why some words are offensive to people, if that makes sense.
I feel like
I
when
wanna
it comes
go off-
to
Here you go, Corinne.
when it comes to like what Cindy's saying, like the words that are offensive throughout history, I think looking at it from that perspective also lets us see like if words were considered offensive because the majority of the group was religious and a majority of people saw these words as like an offense to their personal belief systems. Since nowadays we live in a more widely secular society where religion isn't, even though it's still obviously super important to a lot of people, it's a lot more common to be atheist or agnostic nowadays. And so I think the impact that these words has shifted a lot because the majority of the population has also shifted. So I think it's interesting to see how that like general perspective also changes the impact of the words and why we choose to change the words nowadays to fit better like the general consensus.
I want to go off what Ariana was saying about how religion is a way to answer the unanswered questions or answer the more difficult questions. And I wanted to mention about the scientific movement that we've had historically and how this movement where we've we start learning more about like the scientific method and knowing more about like the earth and biology and space, it made people realize and made people have answers to the questions that they didn't have before. So I think that's also coming from what you were getting at, Corinne, about like how more people are more atheists nowadays because they have that sort of science backing up instead of their theological belief. And also, I wanted to mention how like religion is so infused and ingrained in our culture is because of like the oh, what is that word again? When like religious armies would go out and then they would
Crusades.
Missionaries? Crusades?
crusades. Yes, thank you. I knew it started with a C, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. But crusades are also a really big part within our society and how the spread of religion and the spread of these religious belief onto multiple societies and sort of just spread worldwide. And I think that's how we have such like a strong backing towards certain words, like for curse words, for instance, and how we think, oh, that word's bad, you're not supposed to say that word. But yeah, we don't really know the origin of why. And, I said earlier, it kind of always leads back to religion.
Back to what Corinne said about how there's a lot more atheists. I think it's just in today's society, it's easier. It's not frowned upon to say that you're atheist or you're agnostic now. And before, if you said I didn't believe in a God or I don't believe in God, a lot of people would find offense to that and try. It would be something that's not normalized. But in today's world, it is the normalized thing to be able to say I don't believe in a God or I don't follow a particular religion. And I think that's why it seems like there's a lot more people who go in that route.
It sounds like you're implying, I'm just trying to understand that you're implying that there has always been this amount of atheists, but because it wasn't accepted, that they didn't speak out about it. Is that what you mean?
Well, I can't say that there wasn't, or I can't say there is, because you don't know. Nobody ever said anything. So I think that there could have been, but I just think that nowadays it's just easier to say that you don't believe. And there's also a lot more diversity, so you have a lot more choices. You get a lot more experiences with other worlds and other cultures, and you get to see how other people live. And I think that allows you to expand your horizons and see how religion kind of fits into that.
And also now there's more science. You go, Jackson.
Yeah.
Also, like nowadays in America specifically, having like freedom and access to other information, and also not having like a government mandated indoctrination thing. Because obviously, like for people who go to like religious schools and grow up in those environments where they're like always in a religious context, they're more likely to be religious. And so living in somewhere like America, where generally we have more freedom to look towards other ideas and to not necessarily always have like a harsh religious doctrine ingrained into us. There's more opportunity nowadays, I think, for people to think outside the box.
I agree with Corinne. I feel as though because like specifically in America, we have a separation of church and state. There are a lot There's more inclusivity. There's more, basically, you have freedom to follow whatever religion you want. You're not pressed into following one like in other countries where if you do not accept their religion, you get punished for be killed or banished.
Have a happy Thanksgiving break.
Bye
to all the
bye.
students.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays or
Happy
Merry Christmas.
Hanukkah.
We'll have a podcast for that time,
Bye.
won't we? Bye.